Imagine a nation, struggling to maintain its sovereignty, its fate hanging in the balance. This is the reality in Ukraine today. As tensions began to mount, the West was quick to respond, recognizing the dire need for immediate assistance. The initial stages of aid were primarily non-lethal, with a focus on bolstering Ukraine's resilience. Medical supplies were sent in droves, food was provided to sustain the beleaguered populace, and financial assistance was pledged to keep Ukraine's economy afloat. But this aid extended beyond the tangible. The West also offered a lifeline of political support, voicing solidarity with Ukraine on the global stage. Countries like the United States played a crucial role, engaging in diplomatic efforts to ensure Ukraine's plight was not overlooked. The initial response was comprehensive, yet as the conflict started to intensify, so did the nature of the aid. The West realized that non-lethal support, while vital, may not be enough to turn the tide. As the conflict escalated, so did the support from the West, evolving from non-lethal aid to something more substantial. When the stakes are high, the game changes. The same happened with the aid provided to Ukraine. As the conflict escalated, the West's strategy shifted. They realized that the situation required more than economic assistance and non-military aid. It was clear that Ukraine needed something more substantial, something that could counter the military might they were up against. This realization led to a change in the nature of aid. The West began providing defensive weapons and training for Ukrainian forces, bolstering their ability to hold their ground. This was a significant shift from the initial strategy of providing funds and supplies. Key events like the increasing aggression from Russia and the growing unrest within Ukraine were instrumental in prompting this change. It was no longer about just supporting Ukraine, it was about ensuring its survival. The aid became more about equipping Ukraine with the tools to defend itself. But the story doesn't end there. The aid took another turn as the conflict became more entrenched. In a game of survival, sometimes defense isn't enough. You have to take the fight to the enemy. For Ukraine, this meant a shift from purely defensive aid to receiving offensive aid. The West, led by nations such as the United States, began to provide lethal weapons. This was no ordinary aid. It included advanced anti-tank missiles, precision-guided munitions, and highly sophisticated sniper systems. This move was not without controversy. Opponents argued that providing offensive weapons could escalate the conflict, leading to more casualties and potential backlash from opposing forces. Yet, proponents of this aid saw it as a necessary step. They argued that Ukraine, under constant threat, needed more than just defensive tools. It needed the means to strike back, to deter further aggression. The decision was not taken lightly. Western countries justified their move through various reasons. They pointed to Ukraine's right to self-defense, the country's sovereignty, and the need to uphold international law. They argued that the aid was not merely about offering support, but about sending a strong message to the aggressors. The transition to offensive aid marked a significant shift in the West's approach. It reflected a growing commitment to Ukraine's defense and a willingness to take more assertive steps in the face of aggression. This move also sparked a debate that extended beyond the political sphere, reaching into homes and communities. It raised questions about the extent of the West's involvement, the potential consequences, and the moral implications of providing lethal aid. In the face of a relentless enemy, the West had stepped up its aid. But what does this mean for the future? In a world that's constantly changing, the only certainty is uncertainty. And in Ukraine, the future of aid is uncertain. Let's delve into the potential scenarios. On one hand, we could see an increase in aid, driven by the world's recognition of Ukraine's steadfast resistance and the mounting humanitarian crisis. This could include not only military aid but also economic assistance and non-military support to help rebuild a nation scarred by conflict. On the other hand, aid could decrease, influenced by political shifts, budget constraints, or a change in public opinion. For instance, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy has already emphasized the need for accountability and appropriate use of taxpayer money, suggesting a future focus on scrutinizing economic assistance and non-military aid. But the future is not set in stone. It's shaped by actions and decisions taken today. Discussions are ongoing, with differing views within parties and across borders. There's an effort to educate and persuade those skeptical about the importance of supporting Ukraine, involving various stakeholders from former administration officials to conservative think tanks. So, what does this mean for you? It means the world needs your attention, your awareness. In this era of information, staying informed is a duty we all share. And beyond that, we can make our voices heard. Remember, aid is not just about money or weapons, it's about solidarity, about standing up for what's right, about shaping the world we want to live in. The story of aid to Ukraine is a story of evolution, of changing needs, and of the world's response to a crisis. Stay informed, stay involved, and remember, every voice counts.